What does it do YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host and welcome to episode 134, 134, my folks. And well, after that scintillating, sensational Seattle Seahawks slugfest, after the Rams persevere and prevail and now find themselves perched atop the NFC West at 8-2 after 10 games. And I hope you have been following the voyage of the SS Ramball alongside me over these past several weeks. And if you have, you know the Rams are right where I thought they'd be. But 10 games in, 8-2, that's elite. That is lofty status. In fact, there are only 5 teams in the NFL at 8-2 or better. And so, after that battle at the Palace, well, I'm here to tell you, the Rams are for real. They're right where I thought they'd be. They are who I thought they were. And they deserve more respect on the national sports media landscape. I need to say that because I've seen these characters, the sports media characters out there, and there's a whole assortment of them. There's the Muppet and the Ferret, and there's Neander and Brillo, and there's the no-lip New Englander, and there's Noodles, the Beak, and Shriek, and Duck. There's so many of them, you see. And they all have their personal agendas because each and every one of them are a fan in their own right of some specific franchise or the other. And so they spend their time on their national platforms trying to validate their predictions and their loyalties, their fealties. And so what happens is you have people, Neander, he can't see past KC. Brillo can't see past Baltimore. You think? And so you have these people with myopia, blinded by their passions for their particular franchise. And so, as a result, when a team like the Rams, a well-deserving team, deserving of attention and respect and coverage, when a team like that appears, well, they look away. They say, well, what about the 5-5? Let's talk about the 5-5, 500 Kansas City team. Or let's focus on the sub 500 Baltimore team. And you can't they put the Rams in the last 15 minutes of a 2-hour block. Every time. 8-2. It's annoying. And so that's why I say to you, if you want quality Rams coverage, come here, join me on the outskirts of the city. I'm dealing with the Rams, and I'm going in, and I'm giving you the real. And I've been doing it. I've been doing it for several years now. And so I have to say, on the heels of whipping them damn Niners, and then having just a few days to turn around and get ready for Seattle, I have to say I'm quite impressed with the operation with Coach McGenius and the rest of the squad, and they seem about it. And that's what I like to see. And I'm expecting my preseason prediction for the Rams to hold up. And you know what it was? Super Bowl. That's right. That was my prediction back in August, early September. And it's looking good right now. And I even wondered, I posed I posed a question to myself. It was the same question I heard Steph Curry ask after he got his MVP in the finals. And the question was, what they gonna say now? What they gonna say now? And, well, regrettably for the Rams, they are still talking that trash. They're saying, I hear them, the national types. They're saying, well, the Rams had all those turnovers and they barely won, and it was a missed field goal and they could have lost. And you know, see, that kind of logic, or lack thereof, cuts both ways. Because, while you're sitting there going, well, they could have lost. Yeah, they could have, but then they could have beat the Eagles were it not for that block field goal. Remember? They could have beat them damn Niners the first time at the Palace in Inglewood. And they could have beat them were it not for K. Will fumbling at the goal line, coughing it up at the goal line, going across with the game sealing tutty. They could have won that. Or there were kicking issues that day. Missed extra points. The Cardi party got canceled, remember? So don't give me that coulda, woulda, ifs and buts. If ifs were fifths, we'd all be woohoo tipsy as hell, right? So, sure. You can make the case, well, Rams turned over Seattle 4 times. And then they had to escape by the skin of their teeth on a missed field goal. Well, I would say to you, if you were to present that type of argument to me, I would say to you, first of all, L's and dubs and L's, which one did you get? I said, which one? McWonder got the dub, right? And I believe I heard him say in this last press conference, he said, I will not apologize for a dub. That's right, McG. Tell him about it. No, he got the dub. That's the bottom line. And you want to play that if-what game? Rams could have rolled into that game against Seattle undefeated if we're playing the ifs game. No. That's not how it works. You get the L or you get the dub, and it's recorded, and that's what it is. And I believe it was Parcells who said you are what your record says you are. Well, the Rams are 8-2. That's what they are. KC is 5-5. That's what they are. Okay? So, that would be the first thing I would say to you. But the next thing I'd say to you is, look, man, give Seattle some credit too. They're a quality team. I spent the last episode, you know it. I spent last episode 133. I spent it outlining all of the ways in which Seattle and the Rams were 1-2, offensively and defensively, and across a variety of metrics. So Seattle is a quality team. The Rams made them look bad. The Rams forced those turnovers. Now, you have to also admit that there is a haunted quarterback still roaming in the NFL, but it's not our guy, because as you know, they splashed some Gatorade on him and the football guys went to work and he's good. No, it's Sam Darnold. Right on. Sam, I ain't. And Sam, he's already, see, you don't have to take it from me. Sam himself has told you. He said And I quote, Mr. Darnold, if I know, Sam, I ain't said I'm seeing ghosts out there. Okay, he actually said that. I just added the whisper effect. And just as an aside, I'll say it and I'll say it again. Haley Joel Osment, they should have created a special Oscar category for Best Whispering in a Feature Film by a Haunted Child. Haley Joel, he was outstanding. I'm seeing ghosts. This is Sam Darnold. He said it. He's seeing ghosts out there. And if that doesn't tell you the man's haunted, what more can I tell you? And it's still plaguing him. The hauntings continue. The poltergeist run amok at the palace, didn't he? The poltergeist just went buck wild delirious at the palace on Sunday. Whoo, Sam. Wow. But what I would tell you now is that the Rams forced those kinds of misfortunes on Seattle. Remember, and I told you this last episode, Teddy Tree, I told you last episode that in the last meeting, the Rams defense and Sam, I ain't Darnold. Whoo, the Rams lit him up real good. In fact, they sacked his ass nine times in one game. Beat the devil out of him. And so this time I think Sam I ain't said, oh no, you're not, we're not going to have a repeat of that catastrophe. No. I'm getting rid of the ball. No, you won't be sacking me 9 times. Not at all. And to his credit, Sam, was not sacked. Not once. The Rams did not get one sack against the Hawks on Sunday. What they did, they heated him up with that pressure. And he, I guess, already scarred by the 9 sacks from January of this very year, he said, oh no, I'm getting the ball. Out, poltergeist strike. Out, poltergeist strike. Out, poltergeist strike. Out, poltergeist. 4 of them things. You give the Rams credit for that. Because they heated his ass up and he didn't want to take the sack and he let him go. He was back-footing, moonwalking. Come on out there. Potty loose in the building. So I say to anyone making the argument that it's this and it's that and they barely won, Seattle was a damn good team. And the Rams barely lost a couple themselves. So you give the credit where it's due, yeah? All right, now, I want to give you a cursory, but abbreviated game analysis. And then we'll get to the business at hand after that. We'll take a little look around the league and what's coming up next. And we'll talk about, of course, how the Rams did when you apply the principle to them, and we'll do that. And, of course, you know, we got to give out a few game balls. But before we do those things, let's start with an abbreviated game analysis. Seattle at the Palace in Inglewood against the Rams. Well, let's start with this. The Rams had on some new unis. You noticed them? Yeah. I mean, how could you not? And what did you think? Did you like them? What'd you think of them? Are you going to go grab a jersey? They left me wanting a little bit. It felt kind of like, I'll put it this way. I applaud the effort It just feels as though this shouldn't ought to be the final version. They need to do some tweaks and corrections to get it right. It seemed a little off somehow. Go back to work. I like the concept though. So at any rate, on to the real business. The offensive line remains intact. That starting first unit O-line intact. But it was interesting. McWonder's at it again now. In this game against Seattle, he opens the game not in 13, which is what, has sort of set the NFL world ablaze. No, he started the game in his old familiar 11 personnel. And aside from that starting O-line unit, he had his wide receiver trio in 11. It was Tay, it was Puka, it was X. And I mean, some of that with the 11 personnel business, he's got some injuries in that wide receiver room now. And so, Whittington's been dinged up and Tutu's out or been out for a while. So it was X along with Puka and Tay to start it off. So now, to start the game, you got a quick pass for X. Straight out the gate, incomplete. Second down, X again. Another throw for X. This one is complete. 2 passes to the X-Man. The second one is complete, plus there's a little defensive penalty on top. So it's a first down Rams about midfield. Now, McWonder goes to work, digging deep down into his bag, and so he switches personnel groupings now. He swaps out 11 personnel. He brings in the 13 personnel grouping, and he's got Fergie, and he's got the Ghost, and he's got Cousin Allen, and he's got Cousin in the backfield. Essentially, he's a fullback in the I formation, Cousin Allen, which reminded me of Stoney. Remember how McWonder would run Stoney? He'd run him out of the eye as a fullback, and that never really seemed to work too well. But it's going to work a lot better with a tight end back there instead of the stone-handed one, I believe. And so now you got Cousin Allen in the backfield, and K. Will is your tailback, and it is, in fact, a run play. They hand off to K. Will, and K. Will hit the seams, and he's gone 30 yards, cracks it. And so now the Rams are in the red zone, driving on them Hawks. So now red zone from the Seattle 18, first down Rams, running the ball, K. Will for 4, second and 6. Now a little swing pass, little outlet to K. Will, incomplete. So it's 3rd and 6, and then another little quick pass to K. Will, complete but short of the stick. So it's 4th and 1, really less than 1. 4th and 1. And I'm like, you can make a case in this situation and go ahead and kick that field goal. But I've been challenging McWonder to play more with 4 downs. And I think he's been listening. What's up, coach? Sometimes I think people are listening out there because I've been hearing people calling the coach McGenius. I'm like, hey, somebody biting. But I say all of that to say I'm glad he's following the advice I've been giving him, and it seems to be working, huh? I think so. So, okay, now, so it's 4th and 1, really less than that. And you're inside the 10. And I'm rolling with McDub here. Yeah, play with 4 downs. You don't want to kick field goals against these fellas. Let's try and score a touchdown. So we're going for it. And he sets up. It looks like a heavy run formation, but no, it's deception. McWonder is digging in his bag. It's a rolling pocket, and Matty misses an open page. It was just a missed throw. And so the Rams turn it over on downs. No score early in the game. And so A promising drive for the Rams, sputters and stalls, turnover on downs, and, well, now the high-flying Hawks offense takes over with Sam. I ain't. And, well, he's backed up. They're on their own 3-yard line. But, quick pass for 7 and then a carry for a first down. And it's first down and they got a little breathing room now out of the shadow of their own end zone. And then Darnold at the line. And he audibles. He changes the play here. And I'm seeing ghosts. He's seeing ghosts, and he's like, he wants to do something different, and then, well, drop back, looking to throw, and then he's throwing off his back foot. Sam Darnold meet the poltergeist strike, and that's the first one of the day, and the ghosts are frolicking. Sam moonwalking, Shimon throwing off that back foot and trying to avoid the pressure. You don't want to get sacked, throwing off his back foot. And it's Cam Kinchins this time with the first poltergeist strike of the day. And he returns it all the way down back to the Seattle 3-yard line, almost right where the Rams turned it over on downs. And now, well, you figure, you first and goal at the 3, punch it in and let's get cracking. But, well, now it's Deuces in the backfield. And McGenius, handoff, Deuces, stuffed. Okay, second and goal, McGenius, hands off, Deuces, stuffed. Okay, third and goal, McGenius, hands off, Deuces. Yeah, you guessed it, stuffed again. I'm like, well, damn. Okay, hold on. We got to change this up. I like the power football run concept. I like wanting to impose your will and letting the offensive line fire off the ball, but maybe we need to switch up the personnel, huh? That's what I was thinking. Where is K. Will? And I guess McGenius was thinking the same damn thing. And so, on 4th and goal now, you haven't budged. It's 4th and goal. And McGenius runs out the 11 personnel grouping. And K. Will replaces Deuces. And, well, he spreads them out and puts Matty in the gun. And right there on 4th and goal, I'm thinking, he's throwing. Seattle's thinking, he's throwing. And he is not throwing. It's a gun run. He's handing off to K. Will out of the gun. Touchdown. K. Will, touchdown. Round. That's what I'm talking about. And I was so impressed. Look what we just saw here. How many times have I come to the outskirts of the city to exclaim in complete and utter frustration, why won't you run the ball down at the goal line? Well, I guess he's been listening. You're welcome, Coach. Not only did he run it on 1st and goal, he ran it on 2nd and goal, he ran it on 3rd and goal, and then he changed the personnel groupings and ran it again on 4th and goal. And his tenacity paid off. The Rams scored the first touchdown of the game, 7-0 Rams, 7-0 LA. And I was like, tip of the cap, McWonder. That's how you do it. And again there, you could have made a strong case to kick that field goal there after being stuffed on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, 3rd and goal. You could have made a strong, in fact, at that point, I was thinking even, man, kick the damn field goal. You just turned it over on downs and came away with nothing. Now you got a poltergeist strike, 1st and goal at the 3 straight runs, and you got nothing, man. Get the 3 points. McWonder said, no. We are going to apply tenacity. And with the proper adjustment, it paid off. So congratulations, Coach. And I was quite impressed. Now, it would not be the last time that he impressed me with his play calling on the day. So now, after Seattle manages to put up 3 points, it's 7-3 Rams, and this would be a recurring theme on the day, the Rams with that bend but don't break mentality on defense. And so, they held Seattle out of the end zone damn near the whole day long, forced them to settle for field goals most of the day, and that ended up being the difference. And then at the very end, the one field goal they needed the most, it was too far away, but I get ahead of myself. So it's 7-3 Rams now, right? And the Rams have the ball back, and they've reached another fourth down. It's 4th and 1 again, and that primarily is due to the fact that Matty missed a wide open Tay on 3rd down. Again, another missed pass. So Matty didn't have the day of all days, but main thing, he managed to restrain himself and avoid the poltergeist. So now, LA with the ball. It's 4th and 1. They're at the Seattle 40-yard line, right? And now, again, here, well, they're a little far out for the field goal, and I guess McWonder's not trying to stress Mevis. And so, 4th and 1, you've gone for it on 4th down twice already. Once you hit, once you miss, and now here it is, 4th and 1 again, still in the first quarter. 4th and 1, and he's going for it again. McWonder has been listening, my folks. And so he's playing with 4 downs now. And so, 4th and 1, he's going for it yet again. And I'm telling you, I was thinking at least on 1 or 2 of those occasions, he could have made these, more conservative choice to kick field goals. But no, McGee, he's like, 4th and 1, let's run it. And he runs it, and it's K. Will, and he pops another one. 34 big yards on 4th and 1. And I'm like, look at McWonder, look at the Rams. They look like a top shelf operation. So now, it's 1st and goal at the 1. 1st and goal at the 1. And, well, McGenius, he's throwing. His Tay is incomplete. And then, okay, I got to point out here that in the first quarter still, McGenius has burned all his timeouts. All 3 of them in the first quarter. The yin and the yang, right? But, 2nd and goal now. 2nd and goal at the 1. And, well, McGenius is in 13 personnel. And so Cuz goes in motion from left to right, and Tay is split wide left, and Matty on the snap. He looks quick right to K. Will, but then he throws back left. Tay, touchdown Tay. They forgot about Tay. Touchdown Rams. And now the Rams have opened up a nice lead. Now the Rams have opened up a 14-3 lead, and this is Davante Adams' 1,000th catch of his sure to be Hall of Fame career, and it's also his 10th touchdown of the season, and that leads all wide receivers, and well, the Rams, as I say, are up 14-3, and I want to recognize that was Matty's 26th touchdown pass of the season, which leads the league as well, and then he would eventually get his 27th later in the game. And so the team is loaded, and when they're playing complimentary football the way they are, they're a tough out. They're a force to be reckoned with. And so McGenius is cooking, and the Rams are streaking now, and that's 5 in a row now, and they're up to 8-2. And so I just want to highlight this sequence of Coach McWonder and the Rams on offense. Because this, my friends, this has been your McGenius Spotlight Sequence of the Week. Congratulations, Coach. So let's move to the third quarter now. And I mean, right out of halftime, it's 14-9 LA, and the Hawks are facing a 3rd and 9. And I mean, it's less than 30 seconds into the second half. The Hawks are in the gun, and B. Young comes unaccounted for, and well, Sam, he didn't want to be sacked, and so he tried to get rid of it, but B. Young touches him up, and he throws up a wounded duck flag, and it's, say it ain't so, oh, it's so, Poltergeist strike, Poltergeist strike. Number 2. Darnold, Sam, picked again. And this, of course, as you know, would be a recurring theme. Poltergeist running rampant at the Palace in Inglewood. That was Kobe Durant. Kobe Durant with the pick. That was only the beginning, my folks, as you know, because the second half started to morph into more of a defensive battle. And started to see the Rams punt, and it's a defensive standoff now. And so after a punt, Seattle back on offense, but after they get called for holding, it's a 1st and 20. It's a 1st and 20, and Sam drops back to throw, and yeah, Poltergeist strike. Another one, Poltergeist strike. Sam hit him up. The Poltergeist hitting him up again. And so now I'm seeing ghosts, and they're everywhere. So the Rams now with the ball, and so what the Poltergeist has giveth, the ghost receiveth. And so from the Poltergeist to the ghost, touchdown Rams, points off turnovers. Touchdown LA is 21-12. 21-12. And that would be the last Rams score of the day. 14 points off turnovers, but there were 4 Poltergeist strikes and only 14 points off those turnovers. So that is where you see the discrepancy. But as I say, the Hawks are a quality outfit. And so even though the Rams scoring output was done at 21, the fun for Pote was not done, not by a long shot, because Sam is seeing ghosts every which way, and he's already been visited by the Poltergeist 3 times. But Pote was run amok. He was run rampant. He was running loose at the Palace. And so now, Seattle with the ball, 3rd and 3, the LA 37. Sam drops back into the pocket, but the pocket collapses, and well, you know, I'm seeing ghosts. He's seeing ghosts all around him, and he throws. Poltergeist strike! Poltergeist strike number 4! Picked again! The 4th visit from the malevolent one. The foul apparition just wearing Darnold's ass out. At this point, all I'm thinking is what they gon' say now. But the reality was Seattle would not lay down and quit. And so from 21-12, they would tighten the score finally. Finally, Soup didn't get a catch until late in the 4th quarter. Well, he almost got one. He tried to fake the funk and scoop one up off the turf that skipped and run into the end zone like touchdown like Soup. I know you want to score against your old mates real bad. I know you want to prance in the end zone on your former coach, McWonder, but you got to catch it straight away. You can't trap it off the ground, Soup. And so they did, as an aside, they did a video tribute for Soup. I understand, but they played the video over an hour before the people came and before the players were out on the field. Soup never saw it. Very few people did, apparently. And Soup, they asked him about it. And Soup said, well, I don't understand why they want to play a video for me. They cut me. Soup has some hard feelings. As I say last week, when McWonder's done with you, he's done. So ask the golfer about it, Ask Bobby Trees about it. When he's done with you, ask Gurley. When he's done with you, he's done. It's a wrap. And he said, hey, Soup, I'm done with you, man. Someone else is tickling my fancy. And his name is Tay. And, truth of the matter, it's a better fit now. Soup really can't separate. He's not the same guy. McWonder saw it. He said, hey, man, Tay is still doing big things and capable of more. And Soup, he's reached his threshold, I guess. So, at any rate, Seattle manages finally to get Soup a couple of catches, and they put a drive together, and it's 21-19. And now I just, regrettably, because in the interest of showing you the real, I have to tell you everything now. It's 21-19, and some of that old McWonder, that old idiosyncratic behavior, that twitch, that glitched. So now, it's ice the game time. Okay? We're talking about the fourth quarter. We're talking about 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in regulation. LA up 21-19. LA with the ball. This is winning time. You gotta play this smart here, coach. All right. First play on offense. Jet sweep, Puka, 18 yards, beautiful, first down, outstanding. Okay, so now the timeout game begins. You run, they call timeouts. You know how this goes. All right, well, here we go. First down now. K-Will, stuffed, timeout. Okay. Second down, Puka, stuffed, timeout. Okay. So now, Seattle only has one timeout left, and we're under 2 minutes. LA is facing 3rd and 10 from their 49. Okay? I'm painting the picture for you. Matty is in the gun. Now hold it. Freeze it right there. This is massive here. This moment right here, this is critical, crucial. If you opt here to run, even though it's 3rd and 10, if you run, even if you don't get the first down, you force them to burn their last time out. Okay? Even if you don't get the first down, there's a chance maybe you can get it. But even if you don't, you force them to burn their last time out. And if you don't, you probably don't want to risk a long field goal, because if you miss, they only need a first down or so to beat you. So, critical call here. What does the coach do? What does McWonder do? Well, for me, it's easy money. You run the ball, you take your chance, you try to get the first down on the ground, and if you can, if you don't, force them to burn that last time out. What does McWonder do? Well, the coach is throwing. He's throwing here. And it's a clean pocket. No pressure. Matty just misses another throw. Another one. He missed Tay going across. And listen, I can't say for sure if this is Matty missing all of these, or if it's Tay not settling where he needs to be, or if it's a combination. I imagine Tay been around long enough, he kind of knows where to go. But then again, he's new to the offense. Maybe Matty is used to a different type of an expectation level of where you'll be and what you'll do. Maybe that's it. Whatever the case, or maybe he's just missing throws. I don't know what happened that day, at that game against Seattle. Matty misses, incomplete. Now, this is the worst possible scenario, my folks, because now you stop the clock for them, and you've given them their last time out still on their board. So now you have stopped the clock, and they have a timeout, and you've got to punt. And now, this late in the game with 90 seconds left, you have given them a potential path to beating you when you didn't have to put your ass in the hot water like that, Coach. And so I'm forced, I'm compelled, I'm required to report that this must be classified as a McBlunder. Put him on the McBlunder report right here. And so what bails him out? What bails him out is Ethan Evans. Ethan Evans with the most perfect punt. The coffin corner to perfection. A punt that puts Seattle on the 1 foot line. Right on the precipice of their own end zone. I mean, you couldn't have walked down there and placed the punt any better than that kick by Ethan Evans. And so I'm not going to give him a game ball, but I can tell you right now, I'm going to give him an honorable mention. Outstanding. Work in the kicking game, special teams, Ethan Evans. Congratulations, sir. And then, of course, as you know, with that amount of field to cover and with essentially no time left, Seattle does everything in their power. They get the ball down at the 1 second mark in regulation. 1 second left on the clock in time for a 61-yard field goal to break the Rams' heart, and it was not going to be. And you know good and damn well the football gods are not going to reward you when you throw 4 poltergeist strikes in one game. No, they're not. And so, yeah, the Rams have some things to clean up, but in the end, they survive a heavyweight showdown. They deliver some haymakers, but Seattle's got a chin, and they took the shots, and then they threw some. And it went back and forth, and you throw in a McBlunder, and it got to be real tight. The water got real hot for a minute. But in the end, LA prevails, and as you know now, sit alone in first place atop the NFC West at 8-2, just as I expected and predicted that they would. All right, so now we need to do what we must do, and that's give out a few game balls. Game ball, K. Will, Kyron Williams, welcome back into the game ball circle, sir. K. Will, 12 carries on the day, 91 yards. It was a 7.6 yards per carry average for K. Will, plus a touchdown. And he also had an additional catch, 5 yards in the air, 96 total scrimmage yards for K. Will on the day. Game ball, sir. He ran with force, with conviction, energy, and a note. K. Will has now cracked the top 10 all-time in Rams rushing leaders. He's on the top 10 list all-time. Congratulations, K. Will. And you know he's going to just keep going up that list. Game ball, sir. Game ball. Let's give out a game ball. Game ball on the defensive end. Let's give out a game ball to Cam Kinchins. Cam Kinchins game ball. 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, and 2 poltergeist strikes. Cam Kinchin was the poltergeist's emissary on the day, tormenting Sam I ain't. Game ball, Cam Kinchins. Game ball, Cam Curl. The Cams, Cam and Cam Curl. Cam Curl, game ball. He was your leading tackler on the day. 9 solo tackles, 2 more assisted tackles. And then I want to give out I want to give out a handful of honorable mentions. Honorable mention, Ethan Evans, the punter. Whoo, that coffin corner was a thing of beauty. Honorable mention, Kobe Durant. 3 solo tackles and a poltergeist strike. And honorable mention, Darius Williams. He had 2 solo tackles, an assisted tackle, and a poltergeist strike as well. Honorable mention, D. Will. And then on the offensive side, let me give out a final honorable mention. Welcome back, Puka Nacua. 7 receptions. He was your leading receiver on the day. 75 yards, 10.7 yards per catch. Puka Nacua. And so, now, let's go ahead and quickly look at the numbers and do what we need to do. And you know that is, we must apply the principle. So let's look at the numbers, shall we? Well. Very interesting when you look at it. I mean, Seattle, they had a significant yard differential in terms of total yards and passing yards. Rushing yards, they did have a handful more, but that was a much closer metric. Yards per play were damn near even. But this is really where the Rams found themselves in dire straits. The Rams only ran 50 total plays. Now, the 25-30 principle, as you know, operates on the 55 play concept. 55, the double nickel. 25-30, that's 55. The Rams didn't even get 55 plays. They had 50. So what that tells us is that the Rams did a less than adequate job of possessing the ball. And you can see it in the time of possession discrepancy quite clearly. The Rams, only 22 minutes essentially of clock versus 38 to Seattle. You see it in the total plays. 79 total plays for Seattle, only 50 for the Rams. And you see it in the first downs. The Rams, only 12 first downs the whole day. 26, so more than double. 26 first downs for the Seahawks. And so that's where the Rams damn near lost the game. They couldn't possess the ball. They didn't eat enough clock. They didn't control possessions. And the way you do that is with a more concerted run game concept. So, let's take a look at it. Neither team allowed a sack. Let's look at the principle, the 25-30 principle. Well, let's start with the victors. Let's start with the Rams. Matthew Stafford, 15 of 28, 130 yards. That's paltry. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So, and again, no sacks. So that's a total of 28 pass attempts. That's a check, a green check on that metric. But rushing, this is where I believe you see the weakness in the Rams' game plan. Rushing, K-Will, 12 carries, 91 yards, 7.5 a pop. 12. Puka had 2 on jet sweeps. That's 14. Corum had 8 carries. That's a grand total of 22. Short. You're short there. Short. And so that's a red X. And so again, McWonder hits one metric, misses one. He has a -6 balance differential. -6. Let's look at the losers with the L's on their heads. Seattle. Well, Sam, I'm seeing ghosts. Darnold, 29 of 40. 29 of 44. 44 pass attempts. Well, he threw for 279, but 44, that's too damn many. Sam with 4 poltergeist strikes. Oh, no. And so that's a big red X. Well, what about rushing? No, Kenneth Walker, 16. Charbonnet had 11. Well, that right there, that's 27 right there. But then JSN had a toad, and Shaheed had a toad, and Barner had a couple. So, well, as it turns out, Seattle had 35 rushes. That's a green check. So they hit one, missed one as well, but their balance differential was a -9. And so you see, it always seems to pan out. These numbers seem to be irrefutable. And so McWonder wins the balance differential and wins the day. I wanted to take just a quick look around the NFL. Well, I mean, really, I mentioned earlier, let's just look at the top echelon teams. You got 8-2 Rams, 8-2 Eagles. And you know the Rams lost that game to them by a botched Cardi party. The only 2 lost teams in the NFC are the Rams and Eagles. And in the AFC, it is. Wow. These are the shockers for me. Your 2 lost teams in the AFC, the only 3. New England Patriots, Indianapolis Colts, Denver Broncos. Who would have thunk it? I certainly didn't see any of those 3 coming. And if I would have picked one, it would have been the Colts, but I thought the Texans would still manage to hold on to the division, but the Texans look to be in dire straits. And so, hey, give credit where it's due. 9-2 Patriots, 9-2 Broncos, even though Denver looks quite ugly when they win, but as we have well established, L's and dubs, dubs and L's, they got 9 of them each. And then Indy has 8. And so this is where we are in the league right now. And so now at this point, what I'm going to ask from you, what I need for you to do is throw me one of these. Please like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking and hit the bell. And that way you'll be notified when I drop my next video, which you know won't be long from this video because we will be back on the other side of the upcoming Rams Tampa Bay Bucks Sunday night football tilt. And I expect the Rams will handle business at the Palace in Inglewood on Sunday night. And I expect the Rams will move on to a gaudy, eye-popping, dazzling record of 9-2 after 11 games. And so until then, my friend, Scotty says, thank you for watching. One love.